Salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today I'm going to be giving some romance recommendations for books where the heroes read some romance. Hello, how are you? Welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to Trope Week. If you didn't know, this entire week I am doing videos where I take a specific trope and I give you book recommendations for it. It's technically Trope Week Part 2, and I have a whole playlist going, so I will link all the videos down below. It is kind of like an overly specific trope, and I wouldn't even call it a trope. It's just something that I really like in books, and it's romance books where the hero reads romance. I don't know why, but I really like that. Maybe it's because there's such a stigma with reading romance, and there are so many comments about people who read romance that I just find it really fun when there's a hero who reads and enjoys romance and has absolutely no shame about it. Like, I love it. This is going to be a short, quick video because I only have 5 books to talk about. If you have any romance books that you know have this very specific trope, leave a comment down below. Let me know. I would love to read it. And the first book I want to talk about is Sinner by Sierra Simone. This is the second book in the Priest series. This book follows Sean Bell, who is going through a pretty difficult time. In a point in his life where he's questioning his faith. His mother is also battling cancer. So this does definitely have some trigger warnings for loss of a loved one and mentions of suicide, because his younger sister committed suicide because of the Catholic Church, and that is a huge part of this story. He works in like this corporate world. He ends up going to a party and seeing this beautiful woman that he is absolutely attracted to. It turns out that it is actually his best friend's younger sister that he hadn't seen in years. And he is actually a nun in training, so their romance is pretty forbidden, but she decides that before she decides to take a vow of celibacy and become a nun, she really wants to like see the ways of the world. She feels like she hasn't really experienced things or been tempted enough, so she kind of like propositions Sean to like teach her all of the wicked ways of the world. It's very steamy. It's very wonderful. Sean is one of my favorite heroes. He does read romance. He reads historical romance, to be specific, which is just my favorite thing ever. You guys know I love historical romance. He actually reads historical romance because it's something he does to bond with his mom, who is going through cancer. His sister had passed away, and he ended up finding one of his mother's historical romance books and was just kind of like interested in it, flipped through the pages, and ended up taking some of those books to college. Mom found out that he was reading her books and taking her books, and they kind of like created a little book club with one another, and it's how they bond together. And honestly, it's just so cute. I just love that he reads historical romance with his mom. Obviously, this is a romance, but really it is also about Sean's journey and him finding himself, and also him rediscovering religion. There's a lot of religious undertones and discussion about the Catholic Church, and it's so interesting, and I absolutely loved it. So I highly, highly, highly recommend this book. Okay, I feel like I talked about that book for a long time. This is supposed to be a short video. Let's move on to the second recommendation, and that is Duke in Disguise by Cat Sebastian. This is the second book in the Regency Imposter series, but I don't think you have to read this series in order. The book follows Verity and Ash. They are childhood best friends. They've known each other for a really long time because Ash used to live with them, and he was also best friends with her older brother. Verity owns a publishing company, and they're a little short on money, so she decides that she's going to publish kind of like an erotica novel, like the very first erotica romance novel in this historical time period. Ash is an illustrator, so she kind of propositions him to illustrate this book. So Ash does read romance and erotica. He kind of reads some books for inspiration for the illustration. Obviously, since they're working together, they're working in close quarters, that's how they sort of bond as well. The plot was really interesting in this book as well. Ash discovers that he has some noble blood, so he has to kind of figure out his place in society. Verity is working on this publishing company and trying to make money for her family. Yeah, this one is another good one. Okay, the next one I want to talk about is actually a novella, and that is Blind Date with a Book Boyfriend by Lucy Eden. I about this book a lot on my channel because it's kind of like my vision of like the perfect meet cutes. If I can have a meet cute like this, I would love that. So this book follows Jordan. She is in New York for a job interview and she ends up going to a bookstore, and that is where she meets our hero. Our hero reads romances and he's looking for new romance books, and he actually kind of like helps her pick out like what romance book she should read. And I just think that is so cute, like finding your soulmate in a bookstore. Does it get any cuter than that? I don't think so. So they end up bonding over the fact that they both read romance books. They end up spending the day together and just instantly they have this connection. They feel like they're soulmates, and it's the cutest book ever. The cutest book ever. I love our hero. Love Lucy Eden. She writes a lot of great novellas. If you want to read a romance where the hero reads romance, this is the one. My next recommendation is a pretty popular one. I know a lot of people love this book, and that is Bromance Book Club by Lisa K. Adams. This is a first in a series. It follows Gavin, who is a professional baseball player, and his marriage is going through some hardships. His wife, Thea, actually wants to file for divorce. Gavin does not want that. He definitely wants to make things work, but the spark in their marriage has been lacking for the past couple of years. Actually ends up finding out that Thea is not entirely happy in the bedroom, that he hasn't really been pleasuring her, and he kind of gets like a hit to his ego. As he's going through this, he ends up discovering this book club. It's a group of men that read romance books with the intention to better understand women. Hello, do we need this in real life? Yes. Would the world be better if more men read romance? Yes. Obviously men read romance, but it's predominantly a woman-dominated genre. So joining this book club and getting advice from these other guys, and he's reading this romance book as he's trying to save his marriage, and it's kind of like a second chance romance slash marriage in trouble. It's so freaking good. I love Gavin as a hero. The book he reads in this book is a historical romance, and what's really cool is you actually get to see snippets of that historical romance. Like there's chapters where you can see like the plot of the Regency historical romance that Gavin is reading, and that was really fun because you can just really tell how much Gavin values his family and how much he's willing to do to save his marriage. And I don't know, I just really love this one, and I know it's really popular, but it's for good reason. Okay, so the last recommendation that I have is the Meet Cute Club by Jack Harbin. This is another novella. This book follows Jordan, who has a book club where they read romance books, which I absolutely adore. Got into reading romance books because it was a way that he bonded with his grandmother, so he wants to continue this book club because his grandma had a book club. He doesn't have a lot of people joining his book club though, and he ends up meeting Rex, and originally him and Rex kind of have like a bumpy start because Rex definitely judges the fact that he reads romance and kind of judges the cheesy covers or whatever. So they don't get off on the best start, but Rex actually joins the book club and starts to read some of the romance books, and it follows the romance, and it's very cute. This is an adorable male romance, and it has two heroes who read romance. Okay, really quickly, I do want to mention one more book. This book I haven't finished. I'm currently listening to the audiobook. It's a 4-hour audiobook, so you can get through it really quickly. I only have like 2 hours left. I literally just started it, but I did want to mention it because it does have a hero who reads romance. So the book that I'm talking about is Unfit to Print by KJ Charles. This was a recommendation from Desiree from Genki Reader, my bestie. I love her. She has the best recommendations. This is a male historical romance. It follows one of our heroes, Vikram. He is a lawyer. He ends up coming back to town because of his family. He's kind of estranged from his family because he is an illegitimate son of a very wealthy, powerful man in this Regency time period. Ends up reconnecting with one of his previous lovers, Gilbert, and used to have a relationship, but Vikram ended up leaving, so this is kind of like their second chance romance. And our hero Gilbert is a bookstore owner, and he's kind of like a bookstore owner for like erotica romance novels in particular. So that's how like the hero who reads romance comes into play in this book. Charles is another historical romance author that writes really unique historical romances, and the audiobook is only 4 hours, so you can get through it really quickly. So I just quickly wanted to mention that book, even though I haven't finished it. I'm reading right now and I'm still really enjoying it. Okay, so those are all of my recommendations. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys are enjoying Trope Week so far. I have more tropes and more videos coming very soon. Like literally tomorrow. I have a video coming tomorrow. As always, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the absolute world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I'll see you next time. Bye!